All right. So once again, I hope you guys are okay. So we just get right into it. Last week we did SAT practice test 2, module 1 of math, and today we're gonna do the same practice test 2, but we're gonna do module 2 of math. Let's turn on my camera actually. All right. So um yeah, let me just open that and then we can get started. Um Share my screen. There we go. Okay. Um, Kind of confusing, but okay. All right. So zoom in. Okay, module 2. Straight into it. All right, straight into it. Let's see how this one is gonna go. So this is how we're gonna do today, right? It's 4:13. All right. So how we're gonna do today. We'll get a question, and I'm gonna have to mute someone. I'm gonna have to mute someone. Mariana Sikuta. Could you mute yourself just a little bit, and then feel free to unmute yourself when you're giving us the answers. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is um we'll look at a particular question, and we're gonna have we're gonna look at one question, and then we're gonna set time, right? So we'll do say maybe 1 minute. We're gonna try to do I'm gonna give you guys a minute, right? So I'm gonna give you guys a minute to jump in, right? So last week's participation was actually great. I hope we can keep that up this week as well. So I'm gonna give you guys a minute to just jump in and throw in all your answers, your suggestions. For those who like to throw into the chat box, yeah, just do whatever makes you comfortable. Feel free to unmute your mic. You know how we do it. If I explain something that isn't so clear, feel free to I don't call it interrupting, but just feel free to unmute your mic and let me know what I didn't explain properly, and then we can go over it. If I'm moving too fast, slow me down. If I'm moving too slow, speed me up. You know the vibes. But yeah, again, just to back that up. So we're gonna look at a particular question today, and then what I'll do is I'll give you guys a minute to just chime in, right? So we don't wait too long. So I know we always get to finish the papers, but just so we don't wait too long. So I'll give you guys about a minute. Because I always used to say, I think I used to tell Jaden, or was it Alden? I don't know, one of the two. I used to tell these guys, that I believe every SAT question, especially math, can be solved in 30 seconds or less. So, give you guys a minute to do that, and then I'll jump in after a minute. And then if I have if anyone else has a different or better approach, feel free to share.
No problem. That sounds exciting.
All right, let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, so I've got my pen that you probably can't see. Probably, yeah, but I got my pen. I got my calculator. I've got my rough papers here. So, my plain paper ready to calculate. I hope you guys have the same. And yeah, let's get right into it. So question one. Question one says, there are 55 students in Spanish club. A sample of the Spanish club students was selected at random and asked whether they intend to enroll in a new study program. Of those surveyed, 20% responded that they intend to enroll in the study program. So based on this survey, which of the following is the best estimate of the total number of Spanish club students who intend to enroll in the study program? Keisha is quick. Keisha, Cosmos' guys, like, how do you know? You guys are just quick.
Yeah.
Still reading the question. People are throwing answers in the chat box, but I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So we have one answer in the chat box. So we have one. Okay, so we have two A's now. So Aldin and Jerome, I believe, are going with A. Keisha says A. Okay, Jaden says A. What would be interesting is if you guys are all wrong, and I think that would just be funny. everyone's just shooting A. They're just shooting A. All right. I'm giving a couple of seconds in case anyone has any different answer, and then we'll verify if A is indeed correct. Mr. Muliata, got something to say?
Oh, no, not yet, not yet.
You're still cooking. You're still cooking the answer. Okay, let's go.
Just from
Now cook, my boy.
I'm just from getting a plain paper, so I'll start participating. Don't worry.
All right, bet. All right, so a sample is collected from 55 students in the Spanish club, right? And 20% of them say they want to be in a program. So 20% representing the whole Spanish club would be just doing 20% of 55, which is the same as multiplying 55 by 0.2, right? Because 20% is 0.2, right? Bless you. That's a sneeze. Bless you. So we have 20%, which is 20 over 100, right? Or 0.2. Right. So we have 20% of 55, and this is indeed 11. So our answer is A. So that's correct. All right. So that's done. We'll move to question 2. Unless there's any confusion, any questions, anyone. All right, we'll move on. All right, so it says Jay walks at a speed of 3 miles per hour. Okay, so I'll say this guy walks. Oh, just use the word W. We just use the letter W. Walks at 3 miles per hour and runs at a speed of 5 miles per hour. So we'll just say runs 5 miles per hour. He walks for W hours. Okay, that's actually what we use. And runs for R hours, which is also what we use, for a combined total of 14 miles. Okay, which equation represents this situation? Oh my goodness, we answered the question. Sorry, guys. Answer is A. We kind of just answered it by reading it. Do we have any confusion? Sorry, that was in the plan. Sorry. I was just trying to understand the question. My bad, guys. My bad. All right. Do we have any confusion here? Any problems?
No.
All right. Awesome. Okay, so we move on. Question 3. Question 3 says the scatter plot shows the relationship between 2 variables, X and Y. A line of best fit is also shown. Okay, so that's this. Which of the following equations best represents the line best fit shown? Okay. Okay, I can easily see the answer there. Let's see what you guys say very quick. Just
First B, sir.
okay, so we have 1B. Okay, going once, going twice. B, going once, going
Sir,
twice.
my apologies. I mean A, sir. A, sir. My apologies.
Okay, we have A. Going once, going twice.
Yeah, I think A.
Okay, so we have 2.
I go with A as well.
I go with A as well. Okay, since you guys go with A, I also go with A. I'm joking. Yeah. So the answer is definitely A, because if you look at this, the line of best fit is this one, and you can see that the intercept, the y-intercept, right, at the value x is equal to 0, we have x is equal to 1 here, x is equal to 2, but this whole line represents x is this whole line represents x is equal to 0, which is the y-axis or the y-intercept. So we know that if our x was 0, we should have something closer to 4. And let's just start backwards, since our answer is A, right? Let's start backwards and just eliminate. Look at D. D says -2 minus, even if our x was, let's say, 1, we know we're going to have something greater than 4, right? So D says -2.8 minus 1.7. We know this is definitely going to be a negative number, right? If our x was 1, right? Because we know we need something greater than 4 anyway. For C, we're going to have something which is going to be about -1. This is still a negative, so this is below. So C and D are out. Okay, 2.8 minus 1 will still be below 4, but 2.8 plus 1.7 will be above 4. So quick elimination, and our answer is A for sure. So I concur with that assessment. All right, we move on to question 4. So question 4 says the graph of y is equal to f of x is shown in the xy plane above. What is the value of f of 0? Okay, so that we don't need to, but then let me
Sir, I'm
do
not
this
seeing
just for
your
sake. There you go.
Yeah, definitely 3.
Definitely 3, right? Okay, let's see what I've seen something in the chat box. I'm sure this is Keisha. Oh no, it's Jaden. Okay. Yep. Okay.
Sir, I say the answer is D.
You said the answer is B. Okay, so we have D, we have a B. D, and we have a B. Okay, it's interesting. Okay, so we have another D. All right, so we're kind of using the same logic, right? Yes, yes, Tisha. So we're kind of using the same logic, right, from the previous question, more or less. So f of 0 is going to be the y-intercept, right? F of 0 is going to be the value when x is 0 is going to be here. So at this point when x is 0, where do we hit the graph? We hit the graph at 3. So our answer is indeed D. So B gives you the value of x, but we're asking for the value of f of x. F of x is always going to be y. You see that, like in the question there, f of x is going to be y. So B gives you 0, but that's the value of x. But when you plug in that 0, what's your outcome? What's your value? That's 3. So we have D. All right. So we move on. Question 5. Which expression is equivalent to that? To m to the 4, q to the 4, z to the -1 by m by q to the 5th, by z to the 3rd, where m, q, and z are positive. All right, so that's pretty easy one, right? Yep. Okay, so we have a B from Jaden, we have a B from Cosmos.
Also go for B.
Winter also goes for B. Okay, I'm just going for B. Let's go for B, guys. Anyone see anything different? Okay, well,
B
it's
also.
fairly another B. Okay, so either fairly. Keisha says B as well. Yes, it's either fairly easy paper, or maybe I think you guys are just doing fine. I think you guys are just doing fine. That's good. All right. So if we are going to multiply two expressions, right? We're just gonna, when you're dividing, you subtract the indices, but when you're multiplying, you add the indices. So from m has 4 and a 5, that's gonna give you sorry, m is gonna, I take that back. M has 4 and a 1, so that's gonna give you 5 here. That was rough. But M has 4 and 5, so M has 4 and a 1, that's gonna give you 5. Q has 4 and a 5, that's gonna give you 9. Z has -1 and 3. This is M has 3 minus 1, which is gonna give you 2. So our answer is definitely B. All right, so we move on to question 6. Question 6, what is the median of the data shown? That's interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. All right. So what is the median of that data? Bingo.
79.
I
79.
Yep. You guys are on fire today, huh? Just say, we're ready. I'm also ready for you guys. Let's go. All right, good. So it's 79, right? So we noticed that the data we have is already in order, right? So for you to find a median, you have to make sure that your data set is in ascending or descending order, but it has to be in order for you to find the median value, and then you get the value that's in the middle. So right now we have 9 digits, so 9 values, so we get the 5th value, right? So you have 4 on your left and 4 on your right, and that middle value is going to be 79. So that's correct. I agree that this indeed will be the median, leaving you with 4 values here and another 4 values there. Yep. Keisha agrees with us. That's beautiful. All right. So x plus 40 is is sorry.
Sir, the answer is 55.
Yes, the answer is 55. Question 7, the such question on SNT. Right. It's oh my goodness. Oh, Cosmos is a troll, you guys. He's a troll. He's trolling College Board. If College Board is ever watching this video, give Cosmos some good questions because he's saying you can't be bringing such questions.
Younger brother.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So we have x plus 40.
Let us do
Am I
this.
doing this?
Okay, I'm gonna have to
Not
mute
me.
someone. Okay, that's Alden. All right, so you have x plus 40 is equal to 95, right? And so, yeah, just like you guys said, it's 55 because you you subtract 40 from both sides. Subtract 40 from both sides. You getting your x value, which is 55. All right. Question 8. 5x is equal to 15. 4x plus y is equal to -2. The solution to the given system of equations is x comma y. What is the value of x plus y? Okay, I see something. All right, so we have one answer from Davis. Davis says 13, that's C. Okay. We have an answer from Cosmos, 13. Cosmos is just quick, guys, quick. Always insulting College Board. Keisha says C as well, 13, okay. I see. Just interestingly, I just want to find out how you guys did it. If any of you could just like unmute your mic and just let me know how you solved this question.
There are 5x.
Sorry, Davis, what did you say? Oh, that was Sikuta. Sorry, what did you say? Pardon? I think we're experiencing some technical difficulties. Does anyone want to jump in?
You mean question 8?
How did you find 13?
Since I'm asking what the value of x plus y is, I first had to find x using let me think that.
First equation?
Yeah, I first divided 5 into both sides to find x of 3, and then I'd substitute 3 for the value of x in the second equation to find y, which gave me a 10. So meaning the first one, 3 plus 10, which is 18.
Okay, awesome. So the only reason I asked is because yeah, I know College Board loves such tricks, or not tricks, but I've seen them ask such questions a lot whenever finding them. So a lot of people here would probably find I'm actually shocked that 3 is in the answer, but normally 3 would be an answer choice because a lot of times we're used to finding what x is, instead of finding this time they're asking us for x plus y. Sometimes they're asking for y, but we are so quick to find x, and then why are we obsessed with x's, guys? Think about that's deep. I'm just saying, I'm speaking right now. No, but yeah, a lot of times we are with 2, on autopilot, and we find out what x is. And in this question exactly, I feel like that's that's probably the most intuitive thing, right? To do, you find the value of x here, which is 3. You plug that in here, so you're gonna have -12. When you put -12 this side, it's gonna be positive, so you're gonna have 12 minus 10 minus 2, which is 10, right? So y is 10, x is 3, and then you have 13. But I solved this easily was because they're asking for x plus y, right? I noticed something. 5x is equal to 15 minus 4x plus y is equal to -2. So if you add these equations directly, you're going to get x plus y. Here it's as good as we have 0y, if you want to think of it that way. So 5x plus -4x is going to be x. There's no y on top, so it's going to remain with plus y. 15 minus 2 is 13.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why I asked how you guys solved it. I want to see if you guys saw that trick that they put there. So like just quick to the answer, right? Yeah, so whenever a college would ask you just for like x minus y, x plus y, just let your ears perk up and just be very alert. They love asking such questions. At least in the word SAT, I know they definitely love that. All right, So we move on to question 9. Question 9 says g of m is equal to negative 0.05 m plus 12.1. The given function g models the number of gallons of gasoline that remains from a full gas tank in a car after driving m miles. Okay, so according to the model, about how many gallons of gasoline are used to drive each mile? So, okay.
A.
Okay, yes. We've got two answers and they're the same from Winter and Cosmos, which is A. Okay. Sorry. Kisha, what do you think? Alden, I'm gonna call you guys on the spot
said
today. Sorry, what did you say?
I said A.
Oh, A. Okay. A. Okay. We have Davey saying A as well. Oops. Okay. Jaden, any? It's just out here. I'm just out here calling names. Oh, did you calling my name? All right. So we have a bunch of A's, one C. We're gonna see what correct answer is. So the function G, which represents the number of gallons, right, of gasoline that's remaining from a full gas tank. So once upon a time, this gas tank was full, had a lot of gas, right? But every time we go 1 mile, it's losing something. 2 miles, so every mile it's losing some gas. So the only thing that's being lost here is actually negative, this part here. Right, negative 0.05. How many gallons I used to drive each mile? You notice that if you drive 1 mile, you're going to lose 0.05. Of course, it's a negative because you are losing it. But the question already says how many are being used to drive. So how many are you excluding? So for sure, it's going to be A, which is 0.05 because that's what you're losing each mile. So it means 12.1 is like, I don't know, maybe it's like reserve, I guess. I don't know, but 12.1 is what you have, I guess. You always have, or something. I don't know how to translate that, but does that make sense? Is everyone cool?
Yeah, makes sense.
Beautiful.
That's cool.
All right. So we move on to question 10. Question 10 says, all right, so the given equation relates the positive numbers b, x, and y. Which equation correctly expresses x in terms of b and y? So when they say expresses this in terms of something, just means make that the subject of the formula. So in this case, make it x the subject of the formula. And then it means you're expressing it in terms of the other variables b and y. Yeah.
Choice A, sir.
Okay, so we have 1A. Okay, we have 1C. Let's go. We have 2 C's, 1A. We have 3 C's, 1A. There's a lot of peer pressure out in this peer pressure now. So you think, why is everyone going for C? Should we rethink it? Should we? He's thinking right now. Should we rethink it? Should I stay firm to my answer? What do I do?
Yeah, I say C.
I say C. We have C. Okay. Okay. And yeah, Davis and Cosmos and Jaden say C as well. All right. Awesome. So let's find out. All right. So I'm just gonna cross multiply this directly, right? I'm gonna cross multiply this straight up, and we're gonna have 11 by 7 is 77. So we're gonna have 77 xb is equal to 1 by y. Let's rewrite that a little bit better. 1 by y is 1. And then we make x the subject of the formula. So it means we can divide both sides by 77b so that this cancels and we remain with X. So our answer is indeed C. And yeah, so we can move on to the next question unless there's any problems. Okay, so we have two equations there. Y is equal to 76 and y is equal to x squared minus 5. So the graphs of the given equations in the xy plane intersect at the point xy. Okay, what is a possible value of x? What is a possible value of x? Okay, what is a possible value of x? We have a value of y. All right, great. Oh, okay, yeah. This paper is kind of calm, yeah? Like, it's calm. Cosmos is upset right now. Upset. So him and Davis say B. All right, Jaden says B as well. So we've got 3 B's. You know how it is,
Yeah.
I'm just giving like, okay,
B.
I guess it's another. Okay, that's another B. You said B, right? Yana.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, and another B.
B.
All right. Okay. B. I get it, guys. I get it. Fisher says B. Fisher, you don't want to speak to us anymore. What's happening? He's already in the chat today. Do we piss you off? All right. So yeah. So if our y is 76, we're gonna get 81 x squared. Okay, yeah. Anyway, y is 76. So in this equation, we can already plug in 76 is equal to x squared plus 5. And then we are gonna have x squared is equal to 81. And the value of the root or square root of 81 is positive or minus 9. We only have negative 9 in the answer choice, so the answer is indeed B. Okay, so we move on to question 12. This is good, guys. We're almost halfway there already. That's good. You guys are doing fine. All right, so y is greater than 14. 4x plus y is less than 18, right? So the point x, 53 is a solution to this system of inequalities in the xy plane. Which of the following could be the value of x? Okay. Okay. Hey, let me confirm with my calculator. This mental math can trick you out. Okay. It's good. Okay, we've got one answer in the chat box. Okay. To Cosmos and Jaden. So I'll give you a couple more seconds before I jump into it. Like I said, we'll be doing about a minute and then just jump into it. Okay. All right. So we've been given a point, right? Which is a solution. So we know that when we've got x, 53. So we know that when y is 53, which makes sense because the y apparently is kind of always going to be greater than 14. And 53 is greater than 14. But anyway, we have 4x plus, okay, we have another a from teacher. So we have 4x plus y is less than 18. If I could write a better 18, I think that would be nice. So I'm going to attempt to do that. Yeah. So our 4x plus y is less than 18. And we've been told that our y is 53, so we can say plus 53, and that's less than 18. Okay, great. So we have 4x is going to be 18 minus 53, right? We subtract 53 on both sides, and that's going to be negative 35. So we're going to know that x is going to be, when we divide 4 on both sides, according to my calculator, it's going to be 8.75. So x should be any number less than 8.75, negative 8.75. Now, if we look at our number line, if we're moving 0 all the way up to negative 8, so anything, this is about negative 8.75 would be, let's say here. So anything less is actually in this direction. So the only thing that's less than that is indeed A. So that's our correct answer. Is everyone okay?
Sir, could you repeat that last part?
Okay. So you see how we substituted 53 in the equation, or in the inequality rather, right? And after substituting 53 in this line here, we found out that 18 minus 53 is going to be negative 35, and then we divided by 4 throughout. So when you divide by 4 here, we divide by 4 there, we have negative 8.75. But it says x is, the sign has remained the same. It says x is less than negative 8.75. So what's confusing here might be when they say less than, but we need to remember that on a number line, the numbers going to the right are increasing, right? 0, 1, 2. So the more you go to the right, the more you're increasing. So negative 9 is actually less than negative 8. So negative 8 points, it says our x should be less than negative 8.75. Negative 8.75 is somewhere here closer to 9. So our answer should be anything from negative 9 going down. So negative 9, negative 10, anything less than negative 8.75. Negative 5 is somewhere here. So negative 5 is actually greater because it's on the right side. 5 is definitely on the right side, and 9 is definitely on the right side. These are definitely greater. But we want a value that's less than negative 8.75.
Okay, sir. Understood.
All right, awesome. Okay. No, I'm glad you guys are interacting. I really love it. I really appreciate that. All right. So just let me know whenever I say something that doesn't even make sense. Be like, my guy, you're not speaking right now. Just back that up a little bit, and I'll be glad to go over it in a different way if I have to. All right. So our question 13 says, out of 300 seeds that were planted, 80% are sprouted. How many of these seeds sprouted? 80% of them. All right. There you go. I actually realized I don't even know what percent. Let me get my calculator. Oh my goodness. Yep. So we have a 240 there. We have another 240 from Cosmos as well. Okay, 240 from Keisha. Let's go. Mr. Mulieta.
Oh.
Okay, we have a 240 from Jaden as well. That's right, Jaden. That's right. All right. Keisha saying you guys calculating too fast. I agree. Man's like Cosmos. It's a problem. I don't know. There's no Olympics gold medal for this. Take it easy, man. Yes, I agree. Guys are moving too fast. Jaden doesn't even, Cosmos, these guys, they don't even see the question, eh? We haven't even opened question 17. The moment they just see 17, without reading the question, they're giving you the answer. Like, hey, man, moving too fast, man. Moving too fast. Yeah, no, that's right. We'll wait for you just a little bit. And let us know if you find 240 as well. Actually, while on this question, I might as well run because the essence is to learn, right? I might as well summarize. I know I went through this even last time, but I might as well just summarize how percentages work, the essence of percentages. So whenever you have a percentage, because a typical way, I don't know, you guys agree with me, or I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but a typical way someone would solve this question, right? And let me know if any of you did this, but I think a typical way someone would solve this question is find out, 80% of the seeds oh no, actually there's no other way to do this than just directly bring in the heat. Trying to keep up. Okay, I think it's funny. All right, so sometimes people will say, okay, I don't think maybe this in this question applies, but I know most of the times you have situations where someone will find maybe what's 20% of 300, and then that would be 60, and then they do 300 minus 60, and then that gives you 240. But I feel like that's wasting time, right? Because we know that we're just trying to find out 80% of them, right? So we're just multiplying 0.8 by 300. So just directly on your calculator, you should be able to find the answer, right? So I think that's what everyone just did. Boom. And then giving us, right, which is the same thing as 80 over 100 times 300, right? So you do this. So the zeros cancel. 8 by 3 is 24, but don't forget your 0 here. So your answer is 240. So you don't even need a calculator. Yeah. Okay, so I think we're all good, right?
Yes, we are set. We are set.
All right, just checking. All right, so question 14 says the function f is defined by f of x is equal to 4x. What value of x does that same function equal to 8?
2.
Okay, so there you go. What value makes 4x become 8 is basically what this question is asking.
2.
There you go. I think this
2.
one is we don't have to debate, and don't have to go back and forth. Okay, 2. Oh,
2.
she's back now. She's fast. And she's like, guys, she's in the chat box already. All right. So exactly. So we have the function f of x is equal to 4x, and they're saying what value of x makes this same function become equal to 8, right? So that same function 4 of x, how can it become 8? So if you want to solve it mathematically, you divide 4 on both sides. Bang, bang. Your answer is 2. All right. So question that was question 14. Question 15. Which expression is equivalent to 8x by x minus 7 minus 3 by x minus 7, or that over 2x minus 14, where x is greater than 7? Don't worry too much about this condition. The only reason they're telling you this is because if our x is greater than 7, for example, if we put 7 here, 2 by 7 becomes 14. 14 minus 14 becomes 0. So this whole expression becomes undefined. So it means our value should always be greater than 7. If it was let's say 6, we're going to have 2 by 6, which is 12. 12 minus 14 is negative 2, right? And I think they're trying to get like a positive expression. So a positive expression and so nothing negative and nothing undefined. So that's the reason why they just put this condition. Don't worry too much about it. And then yeah, just get straight to the question. Okay. Ooh, okay, that's smart. Okay, that's smart. Yeah, you can plug in. That's smart. Oh
Sir,
man.
another way to do it is to recognize that the denominator can be factored into x minus 7 as well as 2. So we can cancel the denominator as well as the factors up above.
Yep, that's exactly how I did it. So plugging in makes sense as well. Yeah, sometimes I forget you can plug in 2 numbers. You know what I mean? Like that's good. That's good. Love the way you guys are thinking. So yeah, that's exactly what I would do. So because Audin has already said it, I think we might as well just get into it. So we have 8x, we have x minus 7. I want you guys to notice something, right? X minus 7 is repeated here. And if you look down, you factor out 2, you have x minus 7 as well. Look what happens when you do x minus 7, x minus 7, x minus 7. You remain with 8x minus 3 over 2, and that's, so our answer is B. Another way you can do it is the way Cosmos did it. Well, some people might be, I feel like if I was plugging in, I'd be slower, but he still found the answer relatively quickly. So I guess it's just whatever you're comfortable with. So he plugged in 2 into the you know, the one that's on top there, and he found negative 6.5. So you plug in 2 here, you see your value, and then you plug in that same value. So he just chose a number, right? It would be weird if he picked like maybe 186, you know. So he just used small numbers, you know, 1, 2, you know, 0 might not be so helpful. Sometimes 1 is usually not helpful. So I think that's why he went for 2, which is like the next best smallest number or something. So you plug into the can I get rid of this thing? Oh my goodness. Anyway, so when you plug into the, sorry about this, there's a cursor moving somewhere. Yeah, so when you plug into, or whatever number you choose to plug in this equation, it should be the same number you get when you plug it in A, in B, in C, and in D. So for example, he plugged in 2 and he found negative 6.5. So when he plugged in 2 here, he found negative 1, right? Because 2 minus 7 is negative 5. Negative 5 divided by 5 is negative 1. So he knew it's not A. But when he plugged in 2 here, he had 16 minus 3, which was 13 divided by 2 is 6.5. So sorry. So not negative 6.5, but 6.5. Yeah. So he realized that that was the same as the value he found here. So that's how he was comfortable with B as our answer. For me, I had seen x minus 7, and then I seen this can be factored to x minus 7, counted out, and remained with x minus 3 over 2, which is the same as B. Someone, and I don't know, I might be wrong, but I reckon someone would do this. The first thing they do is expand this. And you can expand this. The only funny thing is college would love to waste our time. You notice something, if you expand this, right, you're going to have 8x squared minus 56. And then you're going to have minus 3x plus 21. And then you can minus 56 plus 21, you can reduce that. But what's going to happen is when you expand this, you're going to get a quadratic expression. And then when you simplify that quadratic expression, I think it's going to come back to this. You guys understand what I'm saying? Like when you simplify it, you're still going to reduce it back to this. It's like a waste. It's going to be like a waste of time. Does that make sense? Like what I'm saying? Did you guys catch what I said?
Yeah, it does. Like
I
going
do.
in front
but
and then have to go back.
Yeah, it's just going to make you go in circles. So you're like, okay, fine, let's go. 8x squared. Okay, you multiply this part. You have 8x squared minus 56x, and then you have minus 3x plus 21, right? Or whatever. I might be wrong, but I'm just trying to see. You might end up with so you end up with the quadratic. No, actually, that makes sense. And then when you find that quadratic, you're going to find the factors, and then you're going to come back to where you started from or something. So, you know, if you did that, you just be like, oh my goodness, and then you have to think of a different way, like plugging in or seeing that factor. So yeah. College would love to waste our time. Sorry?
I have a question on the method that you used. Okay, it's clarity.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. The numerator had x minus 7, then the numerator had still x minus 7, and for the denominator, after we factorized, it only had 1. But when canceling, you cancelled the 2 factors on the numerator with only 1 on the denominator. Does it work like that?
Okay, so are you saying like if maybe it was like let's say there was another, let me try to rewrite this. Let me erase this. Oh my goodness, fine. I'll just erase everything. Okay, fine, because I don't know how to erase. All right, so are you saying like let's say you had 8 x, actually 8x x minus 7. Maybe you factor this another x minus 7 minus 3 x minus 7, and then you had 2 x minus 7. Are you saying something like this?
Yes. How does this
All right.
cancel?
So in this, if you had something like this, right? So you have this part of it, and then you have this part of it after the minus. So this x minus 7 will cancel either of this because you're dividing, and then to cancel one of these. So it means you would remain with 8x x minus 7 minus 3 divided by 2. So if I'm trying to get where I'm trying to go with this is, you should never divide if, let's say, you had let me give you a different scenario. So this scenario makes sense, right?
Yes, yes, this
All
makes
right.
sense.
But if you had a scenario like this, you should probably not divide. Let's say you had a scenario like this: 8x x minus 7 minus 5. Let me make that smaller. Make that smaller. So let's say you had 8x x minus 7, and then you had maybe minus 5, 2x plus 9 over x minus 7. So in this case, you should not divide. You cannot divide because the only way you should be able, if you got a minus or a plus on the numerator, the only way you should divide is if this can divide throughout completely on all sides. So you should divide what's on the side, what's on the left side of the plus or the minus, and what's on the right side and itself. That's the only time you're going to unless it was multiplication. So if you had multiplication like this, the same thing at x minus 7, and then times 5 times 2x plus 9, and then you had 2x minus 7. In this case, you can cancel because you're multiplying. But whenever you're having like addition or subtraction, the only time you should cancel is if that factor that you're dividing throughout or canceling is present in all the terms. So the first term, which is 8x x minus 7, the second term, which is -5, 2x plus 9, and also the term that's the denominator. So all the terms must have a common thing. I hope I've answered your question. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. All right, so we'll move on to question 16. So question 16 says line P is defined by 2y plus 18x is equal to 9. Line R is perpendicular to line P in the xy plane. What is the slope of line R? Okay.
Sir, the answer is B.
Okay, so we have one B.
I second
We have
that.
one B. Okay, so we have two Bs.
The answer is C.
Yeah, we have one C. I'm loving this.
A.
A, I'm loving this one. A, we have B, we have C. Yes, let's go. Let's go. I'll show you guys a shortcut. Why I'm smiling, in case you're wondering why this guy smiling. This guy is psycho. He's seen some numbers and he's smiling. Now I'm smiling because it's something that I thought a while back. Yeah, you see what I mean. Okay, Cosman says C as well. Has it been a minute? Has it been a minute? I don't know.
We can go through it.
Yeah, and I don't want Kisha to shout at me. Give me a call. Oh, I'm just playing Kisha. I'm just playing. Yeah, she's definitely going to shout at me. All right. So all right, so the answer is actually going to be C. But I see, as in I perceive how you guys got all your answers. Actually, like every answer here looks, it looks plausible, like, College Board, silly College Board. But all right, so I'm going to do it the traditional way, right? We'll start by doing the traditional way, and then I'll teach you guys something. Stick to the traditional way if it might seem a bit confusing, right? Stick to the traditional way. It might seem a bit confusing. So the traditional way of doing this is rearranging this equation 2y plus 18x is equal to 9 in the regular form of an equation, which is y is equal to mx plus b or plus c, depending on who taught you. It might be plus b, might be plus c, same thing. All right, so so we have 2y is equal to -18x plus 9. Okay, so we're trying to leave it in this form so we can divide 2 throughout. So we're going to have divide by 2 here, divide by 2 here, divide by 2 here. So we're going to have y is equal to negative 9x plus 9 over 2. So for those that thought A, this is why you thought A. Why? Because you went straight and got the gradient of this equation. But remember that when two lines are perpendicular, it means when you multiply their gradients, you should get -1, right? So when you multiply this gradient, -1, by some other gradient, -9, this gradient, -9, by some other gradient, your product should be -1. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are gonna divide -9 throughout so that we see what that gradient is, right? -9, -9, and our answer is gonna be 1 over 9. So the answer is C. But for those that thought B, is because they know that it's supposed to be -1. So that negative was already like interfering with the psyche, like and that's probably why we went that route. But yeah, traditionally this is how you did. Is everyone okay with that?
Sir, all you get in negative
Alright.
9 according to your question is a positive 18x.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
The 18x is positive, so how did you get a -9?
When it crossed the
Oh, okay. So 18x is positive. Yes, you're right. That's very correct, right? But I was trying to rearrange this equation to be in this form. So when I put it in this form, I left the y this side, 18 went that side, so it became negative. Or we subtracted 18x on both sides. So that's how it became. So this equation became like this. It became 2y is equal to -18x plus 9 because we're trying to leave it in this form.
Sorry, sir, it was our incompetence. We've been tricked.
Yeah. But let me show you guys a quicker way. Sorry, I'm being distracted. I'm just telling someone I'm in a meeting right now. Sorry, 1 second, guys. All right, so let me show you guys a quick way of doing this. So when we're finding the gradient, right, it's essentially when you put the equation of a line, y is equal to mx plus b o plus c, our gradient is always the coefficient of x, right? But whenever we have an equation in this form, I'm going to clear this. I hope that's okay. Whenever we have an equation in this form, ax plus by is equal to c. Our gradient is the same as -x over y. Whenever you have the x variable and the y variable on one side of the equation, and then you have the constant on the other side of the equation, you find the gradient by -x over y. Again, this is not a traditional way, but this is how I was able to solve it quickly without having to solve it, and that's how I knew the answer was C just by looking at it. And if this confuses you, please don't put too much heart to it. Stick to whatever works quicker for you. So the way I used to think of this, right? I got to see this pattern in, I think, 2018. But the way I used to think of this was, how can someone define gradient for me? Or just real quick, or a slope? Well, what a slope or gradient? I keep on using the word gradient, but slope.
Change in y over change in x.
Change in y over change in x, right? So we have like a rise in y over the rise in x. This is like the big gradient formula, right? So the change in y, for example, y2 minus y1 or whatever over x2 minus x1, right? So how steep a slope is, how steep a line is, a gradient, a slope is a rise in y over rise in x. But what I'm about to show you is like a reverse method. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to do x over y. And because it's reverse, we're just going to put a negative. That's not logical, what I'm saying, but that's how I used to remember it, right? Because I'm like, okay, gradient is y over x. But if I'm going to use this method, it's going to be x over y. And because that's like I've switched it, I'm going to use a negative. That's kind of how I used to, that used to help me remember it. So we've got ax plus by is equal to c. So whenever we have an equation in this form where we have the variables of x and the variables of y on one side of the equation, and then we have the constant on the other side of the equation, we do the negative of x over y. And I can, okay, so first of all, we've already found out that when we solve this equation and put it as 2y is equal to negative 18, x plus 9, and then we divide by 2 throughout, we all agree that we can clearly see here that the gradient is 9, right? Because the coefficient of x, right? So I'm going to take it in this form now. Have you noticed that the x's and the y's on one side and the constant is on one side?
Mhm.
So we get the coefficient of x, which is 18, over the coefficient of y, which is 2, and then do a negative. So already I knew that my gradient was negative 9 without doing too much. And then when you multiply for two lines to be perpendicular, whenever you multiply their gradients, you should get -1 as your product. Or you can say you get the negative reciprocal. So what's the reciprocal of 9? It's going to be 1 over 9. That's the reciprocal. But remember that this was -9. So you get the negative reciprocal of that. So instead of us getting -1 over 9, we're just going to get positive 1 over 9. So our answer is C. I hope that makes sense to someone. I know it might be a bit confusing, but that's how I was able to solve it real quick.
Really does.
It does? Oh,
Yes,
thank
sir.
God. Awesome. So that's how I was able to solve it I was able to answer it without actually having to solve it. But again, however you get to the natural SAT, they don't really care. But, back then you get some, what do you call it? You get marks for working out marks. I don't know. I can't remember the code, but you get like answers. You get marks or a grade for your final answer, and then you get for the process. But like in the SAT, that doesn't really matter. So, whatever. All right. So question 17: the given function f models the number of coupons a company sent to their customers at the end of each year, where t represents the number of years since the end of 1998. Okay, so for 5 years. 0 to 5. If y is equal to f of t is graphed in the ty plane, so in short, it's like the xy plane, but f of t. So it's a ty plane. So what you think of as x is t. Which of the following is the best interpretation of the y-intercept of the graph in this context? Okay, it's a good question. Okay. All right. Okay. Cosmos. Okay. So we have two Ds. We have 2 Ds right now. Okay, we have 3 Ds now. Okay, I think we're about, okay, Keisha. Okay, now I can go in. All right, so I have 4 Ds. All right, I'm going in. So what's the question again? Which of the following is the best interpretation of the y? I was about to start explaining cap, but I was just about to start talking, and I'm like, wait, what am I trying to say? Which of the following is the best interpretation of the y-intercept, right? So the y-intercept It's actually I don't know, it's logical, right? To intercept something. If you guys watch like football or whatever sport, when someone, or even basketball, when someone makes an interception, right? When you intercept, it's like you hit something, you block something. So the y-intercept is the point at which the graph intercepts the y-axis, but at the y-axis, x is 0. In this case, x is our t. Remember, our x is like t here. So if we have something to the power 0, right? If our x or our t in this case is 0, if we have anything to the power 0, is the same as 1. So it means if we had this to the power 0, this whole thing will become 1. So it means what we're left with is 8,000. So most likely, I know we're looking at B or D. So what this means is at the end of the first year, right? 0, because 0 represents 1998. Remember, they did this for like from 1998 and then for like the next 5-6 years or whatever. So 0 is 1998. So at the end of 1998, it means there are 8,000, what's this, coupons. So I'm just going to look at B and D. It says the minimum estimated number of coupons the company sent during the 5 years. So okay, this is not looking at all the 5 years. We're just looking at 1998. So the estimated number of coupons the company sent to their customers at the end of 1998 was 8,000. So this is indeed the answer. Great. All right. So I'm going to move on to question 18 now. Question 18 says triangle XYZ is similar to triangle RST such that X and Y and Z correspond to RST respectively. The measure of angle Z is 20 degrees and 2XY is RS. What is the measure of angle T? So you might want to visualize this, just freestyle it. Angle X, Y, Z is similar to RST.
Sir?
And the sides are like
The
this.
answer choice
Boom.
C.
Yeah. Okay, so the answer choice is C. Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, Dave, give us another C. So we have 2 C's.
Oh, C. 20 degrees.
Okay, okay. Another C and another C for Keisha and for Ninja as well. All right, great. So I'm just going to get straight into it. So if these angles are similar, it means it's possible that, let's say it was like this. It's a very ugly triangle, but you get the gist. Oh my goodness. So you have X, you have Y, and you have X, you have Y, and then you have Z here. And then let's say we had another one here. So we have R, you have S, you have T. So you can see that this angle, because it's similar, this angle will just be the same here. So that would be 20 degrees, correct? So I think the trick was because they told you that XY is 2 times larger than this side. Yes, Cosmos. So I'll go C as well. Yes.
Sure.
So because they told you that XY was 2 times RS, most people would think even the angle would have to be doubled. So that was kind of the trick here. Some people would think 40. Yeah.
Yes, sir. When I looked at the question, that part kind of puzzled me for a second, but then I realized that they said that 2XY is equal to RS, which means it didn't affect angle Z or angle T.
Exactly. That's actually very important, right? So lengths of sides may not necessarily affect the angles. Just like we've seen here, right? We've seen that XY is larger in this diagram than RS that we just created this diagram, but it doesn't affect this angle, right? So you guys understand what Aldin is saying, right? It doesn't affect the angle there. So that's very brilliant. And another mistake someone might have made for some reason is instead of maybe doubling it, they would have halved it maybe and then found 10. So maybe that's why we have 10 there as an answer choice. But our answer is indeed C. Correct. So that's true. That's correct. And then we have 19. Y is equal to 6x plus 18. One of the equations in the system of two linear equations, okay? This is one of the equations in the system of two linear equations is given. So that's the one, y is equal to 6x plus 18. The system has no solution. Which equation could be the second equation in the system? Okay, system has no solution. Okay. So we have 1A.
Sir, agreed.
Okay, we have 2A's. Okay, we have 3A's. We have 1B.
Sorry, it's a B.
Yeah, you said B, yeah. 1B, 3A's. We're gonna give it a minute. We have another A.
Correct, B, sir. B is correct.
Pardon?
B is correct, sir.
Okay, so another B from Cosmos and another B from Audi. All right, so I agree that the answer is actually B. So what's happening here is they want you to think it's A, right? The first thing is I want you to think it's A. They might also want you to think it's C because College Board is silly like that. So the question says which equation could be a second equation. The system has no solution. So if the answer was A, it means the system has many solutions, because if you notice something about A, if we leave Y here and we take 6x the other side, this is actually, oh my goodness. We notice that this is actually the same equation. Have you noticed that A is actually the same equation? So if you have an equation over an equation, it means if this equation is the same, it means they overlap at every point, right? Because they overlap at every point, it means they have infinitely many solutions. So each point in that line is a solution, right? So they overlap, they have infinitely many solutions. So that disqualifies A actually. Let's look at C. Notice something about C. C also means infinitely many solutions, just because if we change this, y is equal to 12x plus 36. This is the same equation, except this one has just been multiplied by 2. Multiply 6 by 2, you get 12. Multiply 18 by 2, you get 12. So it means if maybe this was one of the equations, 6x plus 18, this would be the equation 12x plus 36. So there will be an overlap. One is just longer, but they'll still have infinitely many solutions in this segment here, if that makes sense. And then D is gonna be y is equal to 12x plus 18. Okay. So this is gonna give you exactly one solution, just because they are distinct. It's gonna give you one solution. Yeah, it's probably gonna give you one solution, probably. And because this is gonna be, the discriminant is gonna be more than 0. Because remember, really what we're doing here is we are trying to find out what is the discriminant, right? Let's look at B. So already we've seen that A, we can cancel out A and C just because they're already the same. So maybe let's just worry about B and D or something like, yeah, let's try to put it like that. But it's saying the equation has no solutions. For an equation to have no solutions, it means that they do not meet. So the reason why B was easily the answer is because do you guys know the thing about parallel lines? The thing about parallel lines is that their gradients, the slopes should be the same. Notice something. B has the same slope as our question. They both have 6, but this other part is different, which means they're not the same equation. So we're just looking for, actually that's a quicker way to answer this question, right? If the system has no solution, it means that the lines are parallel. If they're parallel, it means that they have the same gradient, the same slope. So this one has a slope of 12, D has a slope of 12, C and D have a slope of 12. So you automatically cancel out C and D. And then you look at A and B. So forget what I said about discriminant. So you cancel out C and D. And then you're left with A and B. But when you look at A, you see that A is exactly the same equation. So our answer is B. And then you've done it in less than 30 seconds. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so question 20 says, what is the area in square centimeters of a rectangle with a length 34 centimeters and a width of 29 centimeters? Okay, I'm going to pull out my calculator for that because I'm not trying to do that mental math. So
that's 986 centimeters squared.
Okay. Anyone have any issues here? Davey said the same thing, 986. Isha agrees. Isha says, I give the stamp of approval, exactly. So area is just the length times the width or the breadth or whatever you want to call it. So it's 20. I swapped those numbers, but it's gonna be 34 by 29, which, yes, is 986. All right. So we move on to question 21. Let's go, guys. This is actually good. We're left with 6 questions. All right. So question 21. Well, technically 7. If we're adding this one. So the solution to the given system of equations is x comma y. What is the value of x minus y? Oh, okay. Okay, we have 135. So let me solve that. It's just in into month. So we have. Okay. Okay. So we have 135.
Sir, negative 13, sir.
Okay, negative 13. Okay. So we have a negative 13. We have 35. I'm just going to give it a minute and then we get into it. Okay, so because of time, I'll just get into it. I'll start with the negative 13. So the reason you said negative 13 is because you are answering. Remember what I said at the beginning of this? Like sometimes we're so used to finding the value of x, but sometimes the question is asking us to find the value of x or x minus y. So the value of x is actually negative 12. So you're probably off by 1, and then you found negative 13, which you thought was the answer. But the question is asking for x minus y, right? So I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing that's how you found negative 13, because you weren't finding x minus y, you were finding the value of x. And so probably somewhere in your calculation, you're off by 1, and then you end up finding negative 13 instead of negative 12, all right? Yeah, so I think we autopilot, because all our lives we've been, yes, Cosmos, I agree with that. All right, so Cosmos says 35. So we like I said, we are so programmed to finding x that sometimes when the question is asking us about like x plus y or x minus y, we forget. Sometimes asking us about 2x, but we, So I can't think of a quicker way, but I know because y is 4x plus 1, I'm just going to substitute y in here. All right, from the first equation, I'll put it in there. So this is how I did it, 4x plus 1 is equal to 15x minus 8. So I just substituted this y in the second equation. So I have 16x here plus 4 is equal to 15x minus 8. So I'll take this 15 this side or subtract 15 both sides. So 16 minus 15x, 16x minus 15x is just going to be x or 1x. And then I'll take 4 this other side, subtract 4 both sides. So this would be negative 8 minus 4, which would become negative 12. So that's how you found negative 13. You're probably off by one somewhere. But that was just the value of x. So now that you found the value of x, you can substitute it back in here to find the value of y, right? So we can say y is equal to 4 by negative 12 plus 1. Negative 12 by 4 is negative 48 plus 1 is going to be negative 47. But then it wants x minus y. What's our x? Negative 12 minus, what's our y? Our y is negative 47. So this becomes negative 12 plus 47, which is the same as 47 minus 12, which is 35. Is everyone okay?
Sir, repeat that again.
Okay, no problem. No problem. So we start by because we have the value of y already, right? Here. So I'm just going to plug that. I'm just going to plug it in the second equation. So 4y is equal to 15x minus 8. All right. This time I'm not going to skip any step. I'm just going to solve it out completely. So in this y, because we know that our y is equal to 4x plus 1, we're going to put 4x plus 1. Okay, is equal to 15x minus 8. So 4 by 4 is 16x. 4 by 1 is 4. And this is equal to 15x minus 8. So I group the like terms together. So I have 16x. So there's a 15x inside. It becomes negative 15x. And after the equal sign, we have the negative 8 left. But this positive 4 will be a negative 4 this side, right? When we subtract, so that we have like terms together. So 16 minus 15 is just 1. So it's the same as 1x or just x. But negative 8 minus 4 is going to be equal to negative 12. So far, so good?
Yes, sir.
All right. So since we have our x value now, I can go back to this same equation here and go back to it and plug in our x value so we can find what y actually is. So our x value is negative 12. And we know that if we multiply negative 12 by 4, we're going to get negative 48. So negative 48 plus 1 is going to be negative 47. But then again, we're not being asked for x or y. We're being asked for x minus y. So what's our x? Negative 12. Minus, what's our y? Negative 47. So don't forget about the negative sign. So negative and negative will become positive. So we're going to have negative 12 plus 47. This is the same as just 47 minus 12. But when you add these two, you're going to have 35 as your answer. Okay. Are we all clear?
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. We move on to question 22. Okay, so how many distinct real solutions does the equation have? Okay. Okay.
Sir, I think it's 0.
Okay, so we have a D there. We also have a D from Cosmos. Okay. We have 2 Ds, 2 Ds, 2 Ds, 2 Ds. Like the spelling of my name, 2 Ds. Excuse me. All right. 2 Ds. Keep it going. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. We're almost done. This is good.
modes. With whereby
Okay, I'm going to give you guys a hint. Think discriminant.
yes, sir, we done that.
Yeah, no, you already giving me the answer. You already giving me the answer. You're good. You're good. All right. So for you to see how many real solutions an equation has, okay, Winter has given us an answer as well, right? So what we're going to do is we look at a discriminant says b squared minus 4ac, right? So if the discriminant is, we know how this works, right? If the discriminant is greater than 0, it means that there's one distinct solution, right? If the actually let me do this.
If it's equal to 0,
That's, yeah, let me erase that. I just realized that I made a mistake there. When it's greater than 0, it means we have many solutions, right?
yeah.
Am I tripping? Yeah, okay. I think we have many solutions, right? When it's greater than 0. But when it's equal to 0, yeah, we have definitely one, we have one, you could have like x minus 2 and x minus 2. So it could be like two solutions, but they're not distinct, right? So you have one solution. You get what I mean? But it could be actually two, but they're not distinct. But here you have more than one here. So in the first one you have more than one. Here you have one, and here it means you have 0. So you have no real solutions if it's less than 0. But let's find out what the discriminant is here. So a quadratic is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So we know that our a is 5, our b is 10, and our c is 16. So b squared is going to be 10 squared, which is 100, minus 4 times a, which is 4 times 5, which is 20. And then multiply that by c, which is 16. I already know it's going to be 100 minus, this is 20. 2 by 16 is 32, right? So this is going to be 100 minus 320. So this is going to be negative 220, which is negative, less than 0. So it means there are no distinct solutions, or there are no real solutions there, rather. So it means there's 0 real solutions. I hope that's okay. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So that is question 22. So we're just left with a couple more, and then we call it a day. 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 Why is my mouse not working? My mouse not working. Oh, and actually, I meant to say, please, this is not many solutions, but if it's more than one, it means two solutions. If it's greater than 0, it means two solutions. I don't want you guys to come back and follow me. No, you said this. In case anyone is watching this, that's a correction. So it's exactly two solutions when the discriminant is greater than 0. Yeah, I don't start seeing comments. Question 22. Okay, so now on question 23. All right. So a certain park has an area of 11,863,808 square yards. What is the area in square miles of this park? Remember, the given us that hint that 1 mile is 1,760 yards. Okay. Okay. So
I love
B,
question.
Okay, so we have an A and we have a B. We have a D as well. Yeah, when the answers are all varying, it's like, hey. I'm gonna give it a minute.
D.
Okay, so I think we're with A, B, C, and D right now. So everyone, I think we're with an answer for each. Someone else has put something as choices. Another B. All right. All right. So let's look at it. So this is how I would do it. So we know that I'm going to put miles and yards. Let me actually start with what we've been given. So you can use conversion factors, which is like where you start using fractions and then you start canceling. But for sake of simplicity, I'm just gonna use proportions. I'm just gonna use proportions, right? It's the same thing. So we know that 1760 yards is equal to 1 mile. 1 mile is 1760 yards, right? Okay, but what about a square yard? How many square yards? So we're going to do this. We're just going to square both sides. So I'm going to get my calculator, right? And then I do 1760 squared, which is 3097600. So this is squared yards is equal to 1 squared is just the same as 1. So 1 square mile is equal to 3097600 square yards. So now we're trying to find out this park has an area of how many square yards, or at least we already have our conversion factors here, our conversion rates, or exchange rates. We know that our park has 11,863,808 square yards. So we can convert this to miles, squared miles. So we can cross multiply. So when you cross multiply here, we're going to have 3097600 and x is equal to 11,863,808. And then we divide by the 3097600 to get our x value. So let's do that. So I'm going to get my calculator, 11,863,808. Divide that by, okay, so our answer is actually 3.83. Yeah, I love that, Winter. I love the fact that you actually see that you got tricked. It's one thing to get tricked, but it's another thing to see that you got tricked. And just intuitively, I don't know how you did that, but I know that if you got A, I know that if you divide 3.83 by 2, so half of the answer, so maybe there was something wrong with just the multiplication somewhere. If you divide 3.83 by half of that should be about 1.9. Maybe it's going to be 1.9 something else, but it's going to be 1.9. So maybe that's why you might have settled for A. Those went for A, because I know we got A, B, C, and D. But is everyone okay with why B is the answer? No? Is everyone okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, so makes sense. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so if you do it directly without squaring, if like the way I squared, right? So we had the conversion of a mile to a yard, which was given to us in the question, but we did not have the conversion of a square mile and a square yard. So we had to square the things. But if you do not square them, you're going to get C. So that's how C was the answer. That's interesting. That's really interesting. All right. So question 24 now. We go on to question 24. 24. Which of the following equations represents a circle in the xy plane that intersects the y-axis at exactly 1 point? Interesting. It's more of a logic thing. Ah, okay. Okay. Wow. My opinion, this is probably the difficult question of the paper. Not difficult, but the tricky one. Like this one would have got me maybe. Good one. But otherwise, the rest of the paper has been really good.
Sir, it looks tempting, but I can't figure out why.
Yep, I know it looks tempting. I know it looks tempting. If I got it wrong or I got it right, I don't know. Either probably okay. So we have an A, we have a D. Yeah, it's actually a very silly question, low key. I don't even know how I'm going to try to explain this, but my mind frame would have been wherever your mind frame is, our mind frame would have been, because I think I know why go in that direction. We need a couple seconds more. Okay. So this is going to be a bit I don't know how I'm going to explain this, but let's see. So I think what they want here is we have a circle, but they're saying the circle should only intersect the y-intercept at exactly 1 point. So I just want to know if you guys agree with this. The y-axis, sorry. If the circle only intercepts the y-axis at 1 point, for example, we had the circle, it could be, let's say something like this. It could have been, let's say, it could have been anywhere. It could have been here. It could have been like this. It could have been like maybe like this. It could have been like this. It could have also been like, you know what I mean? Like, but if it's intersecting the y-axis, because if we had something like this, then that's wrong because it's intersecting the y-axis at 2 points. You understand what I'm saying, right? But we just want a point where it intersects the y-axis at 1 point. So for a circle to intersect a y-axis at exactly 1 point, it means the radius. Can you guys see this? The radius is going to be equal to the value of x at the center, regardless of which direction you go. Yeah, you can see that, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of making a picture. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like for this paper, this is the only question I'm saying. Okay, this one, like catch me on the wrong day. This one, I don't know, you know. But yeah, I guess that's the trick to this one. I guess they didn't want you to get a perfect score here, so they throw in one. You know, they just throw in one sometimes. Like Cosmos is always insulting us. So college, but like okay, you laughed at that equation. We'll give you a circle. You know, but I guess yeah, they want us to find an equation that represents a circle in which it intersects the y-axis at exactly 1 point. Exactly 1 point. it's possible for us to have a circle that doesn't intersect the y-axis at any point, right? You can have a circle that just goes like this, you know, on the x-axis. You could have a circle like this one here on the x-axis, or this one here, which is just somewhere in space. But as long as it's intersecting the y-axis, however you want to think about it, whether it's on the positive side of the y-axis or on the negative side of the y-axis, either way, it's going to be such that when you move from the y-axis, up to the center, that's going to be the radius. Y-axis up to the center is going to be the radius. Y-axis up to the center is going to be the radius. Y-axis up to the center is going to be the radius. But have you noticed this is also the x displacement? So I'm just going to look for an equation in which the radius is equal to the x displacement. So our answer is C. Because remember,
Oh,
remember the, but you see it, right? Because remember the, what do you call it? The equation of a circle, I can't remember the exact letters, right? But it's something like this. X minus 8 squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. So at all these points, the radius is actually 4. You guys agree? But what's the center? Here the center is 8,8. Here is 8,4. Here it's 4,9. And here it's 0,9. So I'm looking for something that when you have the center, so for example, 4,9 is going to be like here. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. And then let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4,9 is there. So that's going to be the circle. We're looking for something that the x value at the center, for you to move from the y-axis up to the center is going to be 4 units to the center. So it means corresponding. Have you noticed something? If you're moving from the y-axis up to the center, this is the x displacement. This is the x displacement here. This is the x displacement here as well on B. This is the x displacement on C. So as long as you're moving from the y-axis up to the center, that's the x displacement. So that value should be equal to the radius. So it means the radius, which is 4 here, should correspond to the x value. I hope this makes sense. It's a bit of a weird question. I hope this makes sense.
yeah, it makes sense. So I kind of have a different way, though it's long.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, since here it's saying that it's touching the y-axis at one point, so meaning the radius of our circle, which is square root of 16, which is 4, should actually be equal to the distance between the point where it's touching the y-axis, which I've seen to be 0,9, and the center, which is 4,9. So if you would find the distance between those 2 points, it should give you the radius, which is actually 4. And yeah, it
It's
has
4.
given me 4.
There you go. Yeah, that makes
Because then
that
again,
makes
you would
sense.
involve the equation for the distance, which is a very long process. Yeah.
Yeah, and the equation of it for distance also kind of looks like an equation of a circle, right? So what Cosmos is saying is like you have if it's at the x-axis, if it's at the y-axis rather, it means you can have your value of x being 0. All right. So you're getting 0, something. It could be 0,8, 0,4, 0, you know. But in this case, let's say 0,9, 0,9. That's if it's going to be longer because you might have to go through the answer choices or whatever. But then you're going to have 0, something, and then that distance when you multiply. So when you're checking all your answer choices A up to D, for example, if you're checking C, since we know this is our correct answer, it's going to be 0,9, and then the center is going to be 4,9. So you can find you can find the distance between 0,9 and 4,9. So you do x2 minus x1 plus y2 minus y1 squared. Those, put them under square root. So it's like Pythagoras. But yeah, that's another way you can use the distance. So find the distance between these 2 points. So you can do that for ABC. That would be longer though, but it's the same logic. I hope this made sense, guys. But yeah, that's good reasoning. It's just like you said, it's going to take way longer. So it's easier to see it, but then the only thing that's hard is actually seeing it, right? Yeah. Are we okay? More or less.
Yes, sir.
All right. And this video will be posted in YouTube. So like just feel free to just go back and watch that again if there's anything that you want to clarify. Question 25, it says in triangles ABC and DEF, angles B and E each have a measure of 27 degrees, and angles C and F each have a measure of 41 degrees. Which additional piece of information is sufficient to determine whether triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF?
Sir, D, sir. No other information necessary.
Okay, so we have a D. Let me try to draw this triangle. ABC. Okay, we have another D. I'm going to do this. Another D. There's A, B, C. D, E, F. B and E have the same angle, 27. Okay. E and F. Okay, so E and F also have the same angle. Okay. So let's say we can make it like that if we wanted to. Maybe. It's not perfect, but something like that maybe if you wanted to. Okay, and we have one. So we have a couple of D's and we have one C. And I understand why you guys are saying D, but the answer is indeed C. It's gonna be C. Answer is gonna be C. Yeah, I know, guys. I know. I would have said D as well. So, and let me tell you why I think you guys are thinking D. So if the question was which additional piece of information is sufficient to determine whether triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF, then yes, we do not need any additional information because we've seen that they already have a similar angle, right? So it means ABC could be like this. This is ABC, and then we could have a DEF. We could have a DEF. So which means we know that angle B and E both have 27 degrees. So this angle here will be 27 degrees. And then this angle can be whatever. But have you noticed how they said C and F? So it means this angle as well should also be the same, 41. This should be the same. These two angles should be the same. So in this case, here, yes, they're similar. So these angles can be different. It doesn't really matter. This angle can be different. This can be different. This can be, But they've told us that 27 is also, they share 27 and then they also share 41. So for them to share this same angle, have you noticed how I kept on adjusting this length? For them to share this angle, it means that these lines here, BC and let me point that a bit up. Where's my pen? BC and EF have to be the same length. I mean, for us to know if they're congruent, we need to know their lengths for us to know, okay, if they're same length, then they really share the same angle. But D would have been correct if the question said to determine whether they're similar. But even in a similar triangle, for us to know whether they're actually congruent, for them to be congruent, it means they need to coincide. So for us to know that they're actually congruent and they do have the same angles, probably those lengths are the same. Does that make sense?
Yes,
So
sir.
here I think
It does.
yes. Oh, thank God, because I know, like even sometimes you explain, you're like, oh, am I giving the information? Yeah. So it's like I think it was just more so the understanding of like what you call it, like similar and congruent, basically. But yeah, D would have been correct if they said, are they similar? But the fact that they've said they share the same angle, we need to know that the lengths are also maybe equal or something for them to coincide. So our answer would be actually C. But I see why most of you went for D. I would go for D on a normal day as well, to be very honest with you. Like if you gave me this question like maybe an hour from now, I start getting tired. Like right now, it's like yeah. Okay. Question 26. So question 26 says, let me zoom out a little bit. Data set A and data set B. Two data sets of 23 integers are each summarized in the histogram shown. For each of the histograms, the first interval represents the frequency of integers greater than or equal to 10, but less than 20. The second interval represents the frequency of integers greater than or equal to 20, but less than 30. Okay, so this is 10 up to 19, this first interval. Then this is 20 up to 29, 30 up to 30, 40, 39, 40 up to 49, 50 up, yeah. So what is the smallest possible difference between the mean of dataset A and dataset B? All right, we're left with two questions, guys. What is oh man, okay. It's crazy. We're about to lose your customers. We're left with two questions. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm sure you'll be fine. Let's see what does the last question look like. Okay, it's just triangles, man. You'll be good. You'll be good. And the video will be posted, so that's okay. Yeah, so what is the smallest possible difference between the mean of data set A and the mean of data set B? I want you guys to look at that. I'll give you because I left you just two questions. I can give you like maybe even 2 minutes to solve this one, just because it might seem like it's a bit involving, even though there's a it actually looks looks a little bit involving actually.
Should I go for answer choice C?
Okay, so we have a choice C. Turn off my camera real quick here. Just for a bit because someone's knocking at my door and I need to give them an ID. So I'm just gonna turn on my camera real quickly. Okay, so we have two C's. We have two C's. Two C's. Okay, three C's. You guys just give me a second. Just 1 second, guys. 1 second. I'm just giving an ID to someone real quickly. Like, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. Don't mind the noise in the background. So someone had lost their ID, and oh, long story. I'm just gonna explain from here and yeah, real quick. So if we look at like data set A and B, notice something. Which one do you guys think has the larger mean, A or B?
Sir, A has a larger mean.
A has a larger mean. Okay. Yeah, actually I agree, because the values are skewed from 20 up to 60, right? And it's this for the same, like 3, 4, 7, 9. It's like kind of, it seems that there'll be more here, and then these are more on the lower side. So most likely it's gonna be A, right? Just looking at this. And then for us to find the greatest or the smallest possible difference in the mean, if A is larger, what we're gonna do is we can get the largest, the smallest rather. How do I make you guys visualize this? If we get the smallest possible mean from A, and then the largest possible mean from B, and then we subtract them, that should give us the smallest possible difference. Because if this is already a larger data set, imagine, let's say that the mean was, let's say, because this mean will have a range. Do you guys agree that because it's a histogram, this mean will have a range? We can have the smaller mean, and then we can have also the higher range in each interval. Do you guys agree that the mean will be a range? We can't get an exact value, but we can get like sort of a range. Like for example, if we had this is 3, we can have 3 by 20, we can have 4 by 30, but at the same time we can also calculate, let me delete that, we can calculate 4 by 29, 3 by 29, 4 by 39. Do you guys get where I'm going with this?
Kinda.
And then we add all of them. So because it's a histogram, right? It's not like this is a range. It's not like there's like 20 integers like that with a frequency of 4, right? There's a range here. How do I explain this? Okay, let me break this down a little bit more. Imagine if we had a mean of, let's say, first of all, I need you guys to see that there's a range. There's a range. Same with this side, with both ends, because it says for each of the histograms, the first interval represents a frequency of integers greater than or equal to 10. So in this particular case here, we could have integers from 10 up to 19, but we don't know. The fact is, we don't know if we could have just 9s. Does that make sense? We could have just 9s, because it's from 10 up. It's from 0 up to 9, and then I mean from 10 up to 19 rather. So we could have just 19s. Scratch that. We could have just 19s. And let me clear this again. Or let's start from here. From 20 up to 30, we could have just 29s in here. We don't know the actual values that we have. We don't know the actual integers that we have. but we just have a range. Does that make sense?
I see.
Okay, I understand what I'm saying, right? So we do not know the actual, it's not like a bar graph where you have like maybe they'll tell you this is 9, this is 10, and then they'll tell you the frequency is like 3 here, the frequency is 4. The fact here is that it's a range. So between 40 and 50, we could actually have just, I mean, because it's up to 49, we could have just 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45. We could have had 7 45s. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay. So that's what's happening here. We do not know the actual number, but we have a range. We just have a range. So what's happening is, one second. Yeah, so we just have a range. We do not know the actual value. So we can have a minimum range and we can also have a maximum range. Do you guys agree that we can have a minimum range, we can have a maximum range?
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. That's the best way to, that's the first thing we need to understand. And once we understand that, we are going to have a good grip going forward. So imagine if, let's say, let's come up with some numbers. Imagine if the minimum range of data set A was like, let's say 50, and then the maximum range was like 100. And then for data set B, because it's smaller, imagine if the minimum range was maybe 30, and then the maximum mean range was like 80. For us to find the greatest difference, the smallest difference rather, we need to get the maximum from the larger side. You see that? We have to get the maximum from the larger side, and then we get the smallest from the smaller side. So that when we subtract this, we have 70. Because if we did like 50 minus 30, we get 20. 50 minus 80 won't even make sense. Like this would be 20, this would be negative, this would be 70, and that would be 20. So for us to get the smallest possible difference rather, we have to get, so we have to get the maximum, the maximum from here and then the maximum from here. Does that make sense? Okay, let me run that
Yes,
back.
it makes sense. It makes sense.
Okay, awesome. It's just I'm feeling like the crowd isn't with me. Okay, wait, let me just move back to my room real quick. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, yeah. So back to what I was saying. So as long as you guys understand that there's a difference in we don't have exact values, but we have ranges, then you're on a good track, right? So the question asks us, what is the smallest possible difference, right? Okay, I'm back. What is the smallest possible difference between the mean data set A and the mean of data set B? So you guys, we all agree that data set A seems to be the larger one and data set B seems to be the smaller one, right? So again, just to back it up real quick, for us to find the greatest possible mean, the smallest possible difference, we need to get the smallest possible mean for data set A. And once we find that, we need to go to B and find the largest possible mean for B. So imagine if we had, again, let's come up with some numbers here. Actually, let me explain this while solving this question. In the first, what do we have here? Can you guys help me with the numbers? So we have 3 by 20, right? I'm trying to come up with the greatest possible mean for A. Just for A alone, for data set A. So we're going to have 3 by 20 plus 4 by 30, right?
Yes, sir. 7 by
Plus
40
7 by 40
and
plus
9
9
by
by 50, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So that's the greatest possible. That's the greatest possible. Oh, sorry. What am I saying? So we're looking at data set A right now, right? And then that's the smallest possible mean we can find. This is the smallest range, right? Because we could have also found 3 by 29, but this is just the smallest one, right? So if we find the smallest one from here and the largest one from here, we should get our smallest difference. And I'll give the example of numbers again so that this makes sense eventually. So we get the smallest from here, and then let's get the largest from here. Because think about it, doesn't that make sense? If this is the greater quantity, A, and then we get the smallest of it, because it's already larger, it's already going to be larger than B. So we get the smallest mean range from here. And then we get the largest mean from here. So now there's a smaller difference. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. So now can you guys help me with the largest mean for data set B?
That'll be 4 times 10.
Okay, so that would be actually it's 3.
So
It's 3 by 19 because we're getting the largest one.
Okay, sir.
And then plus
4 by 29.
Yep, 4 by 29.
That's 7 by 39.
7 by 39.
And 9 by
49, right? All right, awesome. And then we don't even have to count the number of integers because the question already tells us how many integers are there. How many integers are there? That's 23. We already know that 23. So all this, so the first part is over 23, the second part, like all this over 23 and all this over 23, and then you're subtracting. And this is actually crazy. There's actually a thing here. Have you guys noticed something here? If you had to write this down, is there a way I can transfer this to a whiteboard? If you had to transfer this down, if you guys can visualize this real quick, let me just erase this. So all this is over 23, right? Because you have the first data set of A, the ones 3 by 20, 4 by 30, 7 by 40, all this is over 23, minus the largest data set of B over 23, right? That's what's happening here. But notice something, it's gonna be 3 by 20 minus 3 by, let me write that down here. There's actually a pattern here. Have you noticed that it's gonna be 3 by 20 minus 3 by 19? Notice how these things are the same. It's gonna be 4 by 30 minus 4 by 29. It's gonna be 7 by 40 minus 7 by 39, 9 by 50 minus 9 by 49. Can you guys see that?
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. So again, just to come back here, right? So we've got, turn my camera back on. So already, what's happening here is 3 times 20 minus 3 by 19. So, oh, by the way, if you guys want, you can use your calculator and do 3 by 20 plus 4 by 30 plus 7 by 40 plus 9 by 50. Subtract 3 by 19, over 23, and then subtract 3 by 19, 4 by 29, 7 by 39, 9 by 49. Do that over 23 and then get the difference. You find your answer. It's going to be, you find the answer. But I just realized that they actually tried to make this question easier for us. So if you look at this, if you factor out 3 here, is there anyone who can see what's going to happen here? If you factor out 3, you're going to have 3, 20 minus 19. You're going to have 4 by 30 minus 29. You're going to have 7, 40 minus 39. You're going to have 9 9 by 50. I'm going to try to write it down here. 50 minus 49. That's kind of squeezed up there. But can you guys see that pattern?
Yes, sir.
Oh, this is over 23. Now notice something. What's 20 minus 19? That's 1, right? 30 minus 29 is 1. 40
Yes.
minus 39 is 1. 50 minus 49 is 1. So when you write all your data sets, when you get the smaller, again, data set A is larger, the mean is going to be larger, the range is going to be larger than the range of data set B. So if you get the smallest part of this one, the smallest part of it, and then you get the smallest part of A, and then you get the largest part of B, you're going to have the minimum difference. So when you do 3 by 20 for A, and then you do minus 3 by 19 all that is over 23, all that is over 23. You're going to notice that you can factor them out. The 3s will be together, the 4s will be together, the 7s will be together, the 9s will be together. But notice the patterns. 20 minus 19 is 1. 30 by 29 minus 29 is 1. 40 minus 39 is 1. 50 minus 49 is 1. So when you're doing this, it's going to be 3 times 1 is 3 plus 4 times 1. So in reality, you're going to have 3 plus 4 plus 7 plus 9 over 23. But this is the same as 23. So 23 over 23 is 1. So your answer is B. Again, I'm sorry for the interruption that we had. There's just some funny campus safety thingy that was going on about IDs or whatever. So I'd like to apologize for that. So I had to present something real quick downstairs. But yeah, again, please feel free to just go over. Yeah, feel free to go over this again if it doesn't, but I hope it's made sense. It's actually an easy question, but it just looks very involving. But that's why they gave you easy numbers. So when you start to work it out, you'll be like, oh, okay, this is actually what's happening. I hope it makes sense.
Yes, sir, it does.
All right, awesome. And then let's look at our last one. Let's look at our last one real quick. So we have, and because of time, I'm just going to solve this one as well. A right triangle has legs with lengths of 24 centimeters. Actually, we can solve it together at the same time. So a right triangle has legs 24 centimeters and 21 centimeters. Let me draw a better triangle. 24 and 21 centimeters. And then this part is the hypotenuse can be written in the form 3 root D, where D is an integer. What is the value of D? Okay. But this is D. Actually, it's an interesting question. Wants to go for it real quick. Just I'll give it a minute. So at 21, if no one gives me an answer, then I'll just go straight to it. Let's see. Okay, Davis is quick. 113. Actually, let me I'll solve it and confirm. So we have a 113 from Davis. Just give it a couple seconds till it's 21.
Yes, sir. D is 113 for you, sir.
Okay, so we have 2 113. All right, I'll just get into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I noticed that 3 is common everywhere. So I'll just divide, I'll cancel 3 here. This becomes 8 and this becomes 7, right? Because 3 into 24 is 8, 3 into 21 is 7. But I noticed something. There's 2 types of triangles, special right triangles. When these sides are equal, you're going to have, remember when you have the equal sides, you have 1, 1 and root 2 for 45, 45. And then when you have a 30, 60, 90, you have 1, a 2, and the root 3. So what's happening here is, let me erase that actually. Let me erase that. I do that properly. Let me do that properly. Yeah. So you're looking at a special triangle, right? That's but we don't know if it's 36 to 90 or 45, 45. I mean, it can be 45, 45 because the angles are not the same. So actually what we can do is just go straight into Pythagoras theorem. So we have, we might even as well study from without having to simplify it actually. If you want to, if you didn't see where I was about to go, we can just do it the regular way. So 24 squared plus 21 squared, this might be even quicker, actually. So we do 24 squared, which is 24 squared plus 21 squared is equal to 1017, right? But then for us to find the hypotenuse, which is equal to root d, or 3 root d, is gonna be the square root of 1017. But for us to get a 3 outside, it means we have to multiply 9 by something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide 1017 by 9. So I'll say 1017 divide by 9. So I have 9 by 113. So the square root of 9 is going to be 3. I can find the square root of 113. So I have 3 root 113. And this was in the form 3 root d. So it means the d is indeed equivalent to 113. That brings us to the end of our paper. Is that okay?
Oh, yo, me, sir.
All right, awesome. Yeah, you guys are quick. That's beautiful. But yeah, again, great participation, guys. Great work. You know, finishing the paper, great energy. Yeah, if there are no more questions, I'll just stop recording here and leave this moment for any questions off the record as well. If you have any.
No questions.
Stop.
Just thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Thanks much, man. Have a good
Sure.
day.
Thank you all.